What is going on today, everybody? Got another episode of HomeBrew's Brew Reviews for you today. Today, we're going to be looking at the Dark Swan from Lagunitas Brewing Company, aka Heinekenitas. If you want my opinion on the whole deal, Lagunitas Heineken, just watch the 12th and Never video. I lay it out pretty clearly there, what I think about it. But yeah, it's shocker. I'm not opposed to it. Good for him. Can't fault the guy. Now, the Dark Swan is a sour ale, and this bottle is actually provided to me by my friend Joey. You might see him comment every now and then in the comments down below. But yeah, Joey D, Joseph D, he hooks it up. So we do our beer nights here. We had this at Bottle Share Night, and I said, hey man, let me get that. I want to do a beer review on it. It's actually really tasty. And he obliged, so thank you, Joey. This one's for you. Now, a little bit about this beer. It comes in at 8.5% alcohol by volume. So it's a big beer for most sours. Most sours, unless you're talking to brewery stuff or some specialty stuff, 8.5% is a little bit on the high side. Now, Lagunitas say that they've done this with red wine grapes, and they've also done a dry hop with experimental hops. Now, whatever hops they're using, I'm not sure, because their verbiage on that says the Lagunitas signature with experimental dry hopping. So I would assume they mean experimental hops, but a dry hop, which is how I took it. And I can tell you the price that he paid for it. It was $12.99 at the bottle shop for a 6-pack, so not horribly priced. And you'll notice I've got my notes down here with my TWSBI 580 AL with purple ink, and there's a reason it's got purple ink in it today, but we'll get to that. Enough talking about all the crap here on the table. Let's go ahead and get this into this Teku glass. That's the glass I will be drinking it out of tonight. The Teku glass showcases flavors more for sour beers. The shape of the glass kind of allows it to hit your palate in a way that accents those characters. Got my handy dandy grow opener too. Love that thing. All right, let's get this in a glass, shall we? Ooh, look at that color. Oh, she's pretty. She's a pretty beer. Now, I don't have a non-branded Teku glass, but this is a Firestone Walker glass, and since they specialize in sours, I think it fits for the beer style. So, now, you're probably curious about why I mentioned the pen and the ink. I usually don't ever talk about that. Well, if you know me, you know I love fountain pens, but the color of this matches the color of this ink from Noodler's so freaking well, it's ridiculous. This ink is called Black Swan in Australian Roses. And this beer is called the Dark Swan, so there's a little bit of a tie in there between one of my other hobbies and my beer. But I digress. Anyways, let's give this thing a look. It is a beautiful, beautiful purple color. I mean, it's got this gorgeous, gorgeous kind of bloom to it, and the head is this nice off-white purple color. I mean, this is a gorgeous beer in the glass. I mean, let's just be real and take a minute to admire this. Let's go ahead and dive in and give this thing the aroma test. Now that we've admired its gorgeous color, let's give it a little bit of a waft here. It smells like grape. It smells like a wine. More like, you know, I don't know my wines. I'm a beer guy, but to me, if I had to say it has a scent, it has more of a traditional like Merlot scent. It doesn't have like a Tempranillo or like a Zinfandel kind of scent. It's got that really grape musty scent. Very, very forward in the red grape. Now the hop choice they've done with the dry hopping really, really accents the aroma of this beer. That grape character, it really balances it out. I forgot to mention, 22.6 IBUs. Forgot to put that earlier, but there you go, you have it now. It smells very good. You don't get any sour lactic acid or any acetic acid aroma initially. You get none of that. Now, when I had it on beer night, it was pretty tart and sour, but we'll see how it sits after sitting in the fridge for 2 weeks. That aroma, man, that aroma is just, it's too good. I don't want to drink it. It just smells so good. Very good. Very good. It's got, it has a very nice finish. We're going to go ahead and skip the main tasting notes. We're going to go straight to the finish because that is the strongest character about this beer. And that's why I wanted to do the beer review on it, because that finish is so good. Now the finish comes through as this very pleasant unbaked dough. Like this, just you're making pizza and you just take a pinch of that dough and you pop it in your mouth. It's got that really nice, just flour character, that really delicious doughy goodness. Like, it's hard to explain. If once you've had that flavor, you'll know. I mean, you know right away. It definitely showcases that in the finish. I can definitely say that the grain bill on here is probably kind of more along the lines of Berliner Weiss. based on the character. It's got that really weedy, kind of doughy finish. Super pleasant, and it has a nice tart and fruity grape character that just kind of lingers. Now the acid character that would make it a sour isn't super in your face. It's there, but more restrained to kind of take a backseat to that fruitiness that you're going to get from that dry hop aroma with that kind of grape character. It all plays together very well. It's a very well balanced sour. And I can never fault Lagunitas because, I mean, well, actually, I take that back. Not a fan of Hairy Eyeball. Those of you who know me know I'm not a fan of that beer. But everything else I've ever had from them, it's not bad. Now, to be fair, the bottle of Hairy Eyeball I had was about 9 months old, but it should have still aged okay. Shouldn't have been like eating a box of matchsticks, dude. It's pretty bad. But I digress. I'm getting off track. Let's get back to this beer. Oh. You know, it goes down. It's funny. So this is one of those beers I like to call a shapeshifter. When you drink them, they kind of change what they're doing on the way down. So you'll get the initial character of this, it'll turn into this, morph into this right as it hits your throat, and then as it's gone and the finish comes on, it like changes again as it like waves across your palate. I know that sounds crazy, but there are beers like that, and I'm sure those of you who are avid beer people and you've had these beers, you totally understand what I'm saying here. This beer to me, the initial taste, let me see if I can put it in words. This is going to be hard. I think this is the hardest beer review I've had to do because it is such a changing beer going down. I'm really having a hard time here. Okay, I got it. All right, so initially, first sip straight in, you've got grape character through and through, red grape character, like grape juice. And then it's got this kind of mosaic hop, this kind of papaya, kind of like tropical fruitiness, just kind of coming through. Not in a big way, but just coming through to give you that character. Now I guarantee you their experimental hops are New World hops, maybe even New Zealand style hops like Mosaic Nelson. They have that character, that really kind of tropical, kind of funky thing going on with the hop. And it plays so well in this beer. All right, let's go back in. Okay, yep. First sip on the way down, grape juice, red grape, just going down. And then you've got that mosaic hop kind of character, that really tropical kind of interplay with that grape. And then as that subsides, then you get that tartness, that like lactic acid kind of tartness that kind of comes in. It just comes in across the palate just ever so delicately to tell you, yes, this is a soured beer. No, it's not fruit soured. It actually has a souring agent in it. And then all of that rinses down. And then it hits you with this almost metallic kind of character. And grape juice has that kind of metallic character a little bit. And then it just finishes, again, with that delicious doughy goodness. This is a really, really good beer. And if you're not a fan of sours, I would suggest, and I know I say, oh, this is a good gateway sour, this is a good gateway sour. Forget everything else I've said about the other sours I've tasted. This right here, well, actually I take that back. Drop Art. Drop Art is a gateway sour. This also is in the category of Drop Art. This is a gateway sour for me. If you're not into sour beers and you're trying to get your feet wet in it, this is where it's at. If you're a fan of like huge sours like Tart of Darkness or Mother Funker or things like that, this might not be the beer for you. Now, it's not to say it's going to disappoint you, but if you're a fan of like the brewery and you've had beers from the brewery, this would be more along the lines of like a dark fruit or a grape fruit version that they do. Like just a Berliner Weiss with fruit. It has that kind of character, and that's not a bad thing. It's a very, very, very good beer. I'm sure those of you out there who have seen or had this beer, you may agree, you may disagree, but that's the beauty of these things. Everybody's palate's a little bit different. So what we're gonna do is give this beer a score on a scale of 1 to 10. Now this is a hard one for me because there are things in it I dislike and there are things about it that I love. I'm not a huge fan of that metallic finish, it's not my thing. That's kind of why I steer away from some Belgians, because Belgians have that copper character in some of them. Not all of them, and there are Belgians that I absolutely adore. But again, it has a little bit of that in it, but I can look past that. If I had to give this a solid score, scale of 1 to 10, I would give this beer probably a 7.5. Yeah, 7.5 sits well with me. Definitely a good beer, definitely worth checking out. At the price, it's not bad. If you're a fan of fruity beer, go this route. If you want to get into sours, go with this thing. It is not bad at all. Very pleasant beer, kind of a crowd pleaser for as far as soured ales go. Very nice. Definitely better than Avery's kettle soured line that they've been doing. This is much better. All right, that's gonna do it for me. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. As always, I appreciate your continued feedback and support. Joe PD, this one's for you, man. Cheers. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.